Hello, my name's Colt,
And my name's Braedon.
and welcome to the Colt and Braedon podcast. Thank you for having us here. Yeah. Oh, wrong one. Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, so on today's podcast, we're gonna talk about Star Wars.
Yeah, we love Star Wars.
So,
All right, well, I'm going to start by saying the prequels are my favorite trilogy.
which is crazy because be honest with me, Phantom Menace, can't even watch that movie without getting bored.
I mean, you can watch the pod racing and, like, the Darth Maul fight. I think that's pretty good. There are some scenes that kind of drag out, but, like...
Some?
Okay,
I would say all of them.
80%, but,
all of it's
like...
pretty draggy. Like, the whole first part's cool. Where, like, I mean, the first part when they're on the Trade Federation ship and they're like, oh, we will be right back. And then they just attack the Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. That's cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
And then when they go to Naboo, I don't like Jar Jar. Jar Jar's a little guy who's annoying.
Little guy.
And the Gungans in general are so annoying because they're just like they're the comedic relief, but like not even in a funny way. I get it, maybe because I guess I'm not a kid when I don't really remember.
Like you didn't watch him as you were like a kid.
Yeah.
You watched him as like an adult.
Well, as
I mean,
a
teenagers,
okay.
same thing.
But I think the whole Phantom Menace I don't think it's bad. Like some people think it's like a really bad movie. It's not bad. It's just the politics are boring.
Yeah, and the Gungans are annoying.
The Gungans are annoying.
But if you get past that, it does what I like about it is it does like a good setting stone. Like it does a good opening.
Yeah,
with
even if
dying.
even if it's not like the best movie, it's setting up Anakin to be Darth. It's setting up his whole plot
It's setting
point.
the story in a good way.
Yeah.
Because I like the fact that in the first movie they burn Qui-Gon's body, which is exactly what they do with Vader in Episode 6.
And it's a good
a good callback to that.
Yeah.
So that's something I like. There's like a bunch of Star Wars charm with it. It's just they could have definitely got rid of them.
They could have got rid of a lot of the politics because I get it because like it's not supposed to be like a time at war right now. It's supposed to just be like a government working. So of course it's gonna be like trade disputes and stuff.
Exactly.
But like I don't want that in Star Wars, to be honest. That's not what I'm looking for in a Star Wars movie. I'm looking for like fighting, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, in my opinion, I like some of the politic aspects because it like.
And I do because I will admit I like politics. Like I like it. But sometimes like I like whenever when they're in the Senate on Coruscant, they like we need to impeach the what's the senator's name?
Queen Amidala?
No, the Supreme Chancellor before Palpatine.
Oh,
Valorum, Chancellor Valorum.
Valorum. Yeah.
I liked how that politics is cool, but sometimes it's just like, man, trade disputes and stuff that like
no one cares.
No one cares about trade disputes. I would want I don't know. I could go more into that during when we talk about Revenge of the Sith. Yeah. Attack of the Clones. I think people hate Attack of the Clones too much.
Exactly. Attack of the Clones was.
It's decent. Understandable.
Yeah.
Because the intro scene where they save Padme from the worms and that stupid what was that bounty hunter name?
I don't know what it's called, but I know what you're talking about.
Who was like a shapeshifter for some reason. Whenever they kill her, she like shrivels up, which was a weird choice.
Yeah, definitely a weird design, especially with like the outdated CGI.
Yeah, that outdated CGI was
oh my
crazy.
Gosh.
But I think Attack of the Clones did good. I just think the romance scenes between Anakin and Padme.
Oh my god.
I get it. He's supposed to be he was like he was like sheltered because he grew up on Tatooine with only his mom.
And he was a slave too.
And
like
then
he had no contact.
Yeah, and then he became a Jedi, which means he also has no connection. He has no interaction with
with normal people.
Yeah, so it makes sense that he's supposed to be like really like awkward and stuff. But I think it's equal awkwardness and also bad writing on George Lucas's part.
That was
George
horrible
Lucas
writing.
cannot write romance. I'm sorry. I think George Lucas did some good stuff, but he's not the Messiah of Star Wars.
He is not.
He has some stuff that's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like especially like in the romance scenes when like him and Padme are in the dark room, It was just awkward.
I know, because he's just like, oh, I'll do this for you, and he levitates the apple and he cuts in half. Like, bro, what are you doing?
What,
like,
what type,
he does not have game.
He does not. What type of riz is this, bro?
I don't know. But like everything else about Attack of the Clones, like the Camino part, fantastic.
Ooh, that was good.
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan's my
is
goat, bro.
so cool in this. Oh my god,
yes.
the long hair. Oh my
dude,
god,
he should have kept the long hair in Revenge of the Sith.
Now,
honestly,
Revenge of the Sith though, his hairs look pretty fire. But I think that long hair matched him pretty good.
Honestly,
and the Geonosis. Oh my god, that's like the best scene in Star Wars.
Honestly, it is.
The whole fight where the whole Geonosis fight scene is so cool. Like I think because in the there's a Lego game, Star Wars. Oh, like the third Lego game, it's based off of the Clone Wars. The first mission is the Geonosis fight.
So you got a little nostalgia for that.
I have so much nostalgia because that fight is so that whole mission in Lego Star Wars is so cool. So I have nostalgia for the Geonosis fight, but it's also just really good. Yeah. And then we see the clones, which is so fire. I love Attack of the Clones it's a shame that they have not re-released that in theaters yet. They did the Phantom Menace and Attack the Clones. No, Phantom Menace, Revenge of the Sith, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. How have they not done Attack the Clones? They did Phantom Menace before Attack the Clones.
That's crazy.
Wild.
Literally wild as take. Now, speaking of which, my favorite, my GOAT, Revenge of the Sith.
All right,
bro.
I have a hot take.
What's your hot take?
And I'm being dead serious about this.
Don't.
Revenge of the Sith. It's my third favorite Star Wars film.
Third.
Empire Strikes Back and then Rogue One.
I'm gonna be real. Empire Strikes Back is
the GOAT. Yeah. But we'll talk about that later. Revenge of the Sith, I think it's overrated in a sense that the plot of that movie is so stupid because he goes it's the attack on Coruscant. He kills Count Dooku
just on a whim.
Bro doesn't even he's like,
he
I
hesitate.
shouldn't. And Palpatine's like, do it. And he's like, okay. And
he just does it.
Then that was weird on itself because I get it. Okay, he understands that
he needs to do it for the greater good.
But he should have thought about that. He should have thought about that through. But and then this is the worst part. Okay, so he has the visions about Padme dying, and he's freaking out. And then Palpatine kind of just reveals the whole thing to Anakin, and then Anakin goes and tells Mace Windu, "Oh, he's the Sith." He already betrayed Palpatine, and he's like, "Man, I'm so stressed out. I'm gonna go over there." And then he's like, "No, you can't kill him. This isn't the Jedi way." After he just killed Dooku, crazy. The escalation from him being on the light side to the dark side immediately. I think if it had been longer, it would have made more sense. It kind of happened so fast, and I get it. It's supposed to be like a 2-hour movie. Yeah, and I guess they can't. Yeah, I just think.
Well, speaking of which, the Clone Wars series, right?
Oh, okay.
They have 9 seasons.
Now
of actual peak.
Now, Clone Wars. We'll go back to Revenge of the Sith in a second, but I forgot. Clone Wars goes after this. Clone Wars is the second greatest Star Wars show. You need to watch Andor. Andor is such a good Star Wars show, but that's later.
That's later on. All right.
Clone Wars. Besides the first two seasons
were kind of slow.
Are rough because after the first time you watch them, man, the animation is ugly AF.
Yeah,
really bad.
And they're also trying to make it like kind of like a kids show.
And they really push that. Later seasons they get to be it's not that it's not a kids show. You can tell it's still it's
meant
still
for kids, but it's
there's darker themes and it's not.
And
just
there's more depth into the show.
Yeah,
too.
There's a lot more depth in the later seasons. Clone Wars. The best show ever.
Honestly.
The last season where you get to see the Siege of Mandalore. Great.
Dude, that is peak.
Oh my God.
Love it.
Everything with Mandalore is so cool. Whenever Obi-Wan goes there during the first Siege of Mandalore. Yeah. So cool.
So good.
And also it introduced Ahsoka, which is one of the best characters ever in Star Wars.
Honestly, she is definitely good. And
this is a callback to the conversation we had yesterday. So during lunch yesterday, we were talking about there's a show called The Acolyte. And our friend Logan, he talked about how, they pushed a female lead. I disagree with that because there is a difference between pushing a female lead and just bad writing. Because Ahsoka, you could have said they pushed a female lead for Ahsoka, they just gave him a female Padawan. But no, she had good writing.
Yeah.
So I remember when The Acolyte was coming out, I wanted to watch it, but I heard it had bad writing. If it had good writing, people wouldn't have complained that it was a girl as the protagonist.
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't like when Logan was saying that they pushed
Yeah.
a female lead on because man,
he was mainly referencing though like Ray in the new trilogy.
well, okay.
We're getting all over the place, man.
We're losing this. We're losing
the
sauce
plot.
right now.
We're losing the plot.
Okay,
let's go back to Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, let's go back to
and
Revenge of
talk
the
about
Sith. The ending, fantastic.
Fantastic
Order 66, best thing ever. And Clone Wars brings that up, fleshing out the characters who do Order 66.
Yeah, who actually do it. They flesh them, give them like character, and build up the relationship with the Jedi over the years.
Before Clone Wars came out, when you see Revenge of the Sith, you kind of just assume, okay, they weren't really loyal to them. They just betrayed them on a whim.
Yeah.
Clone Wars show that it was like a chip in them that they forced. It forced them to do it, which makes a lot more sense because in Legends, there's canon and Legends.
Yeah.
If y'all didn't know that.
Oh my gosh, this is so stupid.
This is so stupid.
This is so stupid.
In Legends, it was shown that they just obeyed the order. It wasn't like they had a chip in their head. They're like, oh, Order 66, okay, and they just listened to Palpatine. I don't like that because, like Cody at the end of Revenge of the Sith, Cody's been with Obi-Wan for years.
Years now, yeah.
And I don't see how any of the clones could have just betrayed them on a whim. So I like that Disney changed
and made it forced instead of them willingly doing it, because they have such complex relationships with the Jedi and stuff.
Yeah. And now the last thing we'll talk about, because this is 11 minutes now. The last thing I'll say is, so we've covered all the movies. Now let's just loop everything to Disney. How do you feel about the Disney buyout of Lucasfilm?
Well,
I think we'll have conflicting opinions on this.
Here's what I'm gonna say. They have done some okay things in a little bit, but they have made way too many mistakes, in my opinion. They kind of ruined the sequels a lot, in my opinion. They had so much potential with The Force Awakens, which that was a good movie. That when they first started, it was a good movie. Then, The Last Jedi, it was kind of pushing it down.
I'll talk about it in a second.
And then Rise of Skywalker, they just throw Palpatine in there for no reason.
I will admit this. I'm a Star Wars defender and a sequels defender and a Disney defender to my heart. But Rise of Skywalker,
horrible.
The worst thing I think the worst thing Disney could have came up with. They chose the worst plot ideas. It was really bad. I don't understand how they did that, but that's besides the point. You think Disney's done an okay job? They could have done better with it.
They have definitely tried and failed, had a lot of trial and error, especially just because they have good ideas, concepts, but then they actually execute them. They're kind of bad. Whenever
they actually write it out, it seems like they kind of fumble, which I will admit they do that. But I will say, I think Disney was the best option George Lucas could have done with it, because when you look at Legends before Disney bought out and made canon and Legends separate, Legends was so messy, and it was kind of just glorified fan fiction,
because there was just stuff everywhere.
Was just people could just write their own thing and say, oh wait, this happened, no, actually something else happened, and it's just I get it, because that's kind of what stuff is a lot of times. It's just fan fiction that becomes real.
Yeah.
But I think Legends was super messy, and it's good that there's a defined timeline now that Disney did. Now, Disney, the shows that they've made, they tend, Clone Wars season 7
through 9?
Yeah, those were made by Disney.
Those were good.
Mandalorian season 1 and half of season 2, they were good. I just think sometimes it's not really Disney's fault. I think it's mostly the directors, because Kathleen Kennedy, people hate Kathleen Kennedy, which I understand that, but you can't pin it on Kathleen Kennedy, because so the director of the new Andor show, he brought up the fact that none of that would have happened without Kathleen Kennedy. So I used to not like Kathleen Kennedy, because I used to think she was a hag who was controlling everything and making everything suck in Star Wars.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the director's fault. If she pushes y'all along, but if they can't make a good show or make a good piece, it's not her fault. But people tend to blame her over the director itself, which I don't like that.
Yeah, that's not good.
And then the Star Wars sequels. Last thing we'll talk about the sequels real quick. Force Awakens. I think it's good, but only in the sense that it's kind of just a New Hope just retold.
Honestly, yeah.
Which is kind of weird because it's just like, oh, there's a scavenger who is a Jedi, and then at the end they destroy a space station or like a planet destroyer. They destroy that, which it's weird that they wanted to repeat that, but I don't think it's bad. The Last Jedi is a good movie. I think people hate that because they hate how they betrayed Luke, which I will admit, some of the things that Last Jedi did were not good, but I don't think it's a bad, because I think the plot itself, it had potential.
It did, but
I just
the execution was just so bad.
Not so bad. It was not so bad. It was a good execution. They just had bad ideas that didn't really go well with, like Luke. I didn't like Luke. I will admit, Luke was the one bad thing I hated about that movie.
Dude, you know it's bad when the actor hates his character.
Yeah, but in lore, it makes sense because Yoda, his whole Jedi Order got destroyed and he became a hermit. Same thing with Luke. He felt well, what's Kylo Ren's real name?
Ben.
I can't.
Ben Solo.
He sensed Ben's fear, and Luke was afraid of the Jedi Order being destroyed again. Yeah. So he was on the verge of killing him. He was like, oh, I shouldn't do it. But he was too late, and then Ben saw, and that's what everything happened.
Yeah.
Luke felt like it was his fault, which it was, so he became a hermit. So it makes sense for him to be a hermit, even if I don't like that. It makes sense, even if I think it was a terrible idea, it makes sense.
Yeah, honestly. Because with the stuff that happened in the past, like, I mean, it just makes sense. I just don't like it. It's just...
Yeah, I know. Because in our eyes, we think of Luke as at the end of Return of the Jedi, which is he's supposed to be like...
happy and ready and ready to restart the Jedi Order.
He's supposed to be like wise, and he's excited to rebuild the Jedi Order.
Exactly.
And then we see him in Last Jedi, and he's just a hermit, which is understandably kind of weird. I don't really like it, but...
That's up for our next episode.
Yeah, next episode, we'll talk about the original trilogy because we kind of skipped over that.
Yeah, we kind of did.
And see you later, guys. And that was the Colt and Braden podcast. Thank you. We'll be here all night.